What's up, Magical Misfits? Drew here, and today I am back with another reading. So for this reading, we're going to see if there are any messages from Kwan Yin. Lately, she has re-emerged, very recently, just in the past few days in my life. And apparently we are working on something very important. And I just thought that while she's here and we're in each other's energy, I could see if there was a broader message for the collective that she might share. So not really any kind of specific question, just sort of general. So as always, it's a general reading. It's not for everyone. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's okay if it's not for you. And my little smish face puppy is in the room, so if you hear weird snorting and, I don't know, all kind of unusual sounds, that's her. Are there any other cards in this deck with a message from Kwan Yin today? It is this one. Now, I want to make sure they're not... Okay, both of these are decent. There's no nudity. I don't have to worry about YouTube. Sound the Fierce Flute and Maiden Magoo. So this card speaks of discernment, and this card speaks of, I'll say, psychospiritual work. I want to get some more cards so we can get deeper into that. Okay, cards. Show me the card attached to discernment. Tell me more about this discernment. Is there a card here? Is it this one? Maybe. Yeah, it's this one. All right. We have House 3, House of Relationships, Curiosity, Experiences, Short Journeys, Talking and Listening, Relatives and Siblings, and Day-to-Day Connections. Okay. Show me a card of psychospiritual work. Is there any further guidance in this deck on the psychospiritual work? Who is it? South Node. Okay. Holds the rewards of your new growth, a cup that is filled by your past, path of least resistance, and opposite of the North Node. Are there any more cards in this deck? No. So these cards would go hand in hand, wouldn't they? With like shadow work, trauma work, even like past life work, like karmic cycle kind of stuff. This card talks about how you can like mine the riches out of the dark soil kind of deal. So there may be a message about really looking at some of the more unpleasant aspects of self or our history in order to find the treasure there, to find our strength, to find our resilience, our ability to cope, or, those kind of come to the top of my mind first, but I actually think it's a little deeper than that. I think we're trying to uncover things that were buried. So shadow work. Things that we hid about ourselves consciously or otherwise to fit in or to feel safe or what have you in our environment. And I find it very interesting that we have relatives and siblings and day-to-day connections when we have this discernment card. And so I wonder if we don't need to be setting healthy boundaries, if there isn't a need to fiercely love ourselves first and foremost. It's not about being mean to other people. It's about showing ourselves true compassion and unconditional love. I want more cards, like I said, because that could tell me more about what the message is. But I feel like we're on the right track. Are there any cards in this deck that would help? This reading that would give the message Kwan Yin wishes to share. Oh, I don't know that. Ooh. Definitely this card. Mediator. And it came out in reverse. I'm going to leave it that way. So let's look at the light attributes. Gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life. Respect for both sides of an argument. Shadow attributes. Negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. That might be true for some of you, but that's not what I'm getting from this card at all. I'm actually getting, I just have the feeling of someone being forced, feeling as if it's their responsibility to mediate when it's not, and it putting undue stress on them. There's something claustrophobic about this card. Is there another card in this deck that would further this reading? There might be. There might not be. I can't tell. It's this one. We got the Martyr card. And it was in reverse, but I don't feel like that's relevant. Light attribute. Learning to transcend nature of service to oneself or a cause. Shadow attributes. Addiction to self-pity. I'm going to put this with the Martyr card. I don't know how... out of frame. I don't know how... I'm going to set it... I want it to be a little off kilter because it's not going to be true for everyone. And I don't feel like it's... It feels like someone coming to the end of their rope is what it feels like to me. With this card, we may feel like we are stuck in the woe is me mindset, but it's more just coming to the end of our tether, and we just can't take it anymore. It's just too much. It's just, I've had enough. That's what I feel. And if we continue to push, then, you know, we're going to be the martyr. If we just continue on this path of sort of sacrificing our own mental and emotional well-being for the people around us, whether that's in our family or in a work situation or whatever dynamic it appears in, there's some self-sacrifice that is occurring that is potentially coming from a trauma space. It's a trauma reaction. Are there any cards in this deck? Yes. So many cards. We've got the Maiden. And we have the Sustainer. Let me see if there's... I've got a few more cards here that could potentially be for this reading. Let me see. Are there any more cards in this deck? No. I really feel like this is just more confirmation of what I've already been talking about. I feel like we are just like maintaining the status quo. for the sake of maintaining the status quo, because it feels like the safe, right choice, because we know what that looks like. But it's a really unhealthy dynamic for everybody involved. And we're being called back to a pure state of who we are, of being in resonance with who we really are, and being able to move through the world from that space. So again, this is kind of psycho-spiritual work. I feel like we're really being called to look at why we make choices that we make in our interactions with other people, and when we're trying to people please and placate others, and sacrificing our own well-being. Is there a card in this deck? Yes. Can you show me? People in this situation, what they need to do, how they. We got Spider. Trust the creative spark you're feeling and express it through writing stories that inspire and enlighten. Because I asked what we could do, some practical advice to move through this. So I don't feel like that has to be, I mean, if it's like poetry or short stories or something of the like, sure, great, awesome. But I think it could just be journaling too. Just really, even writing letters to, if you can think of specific people that this relates to, writing letters to them, just bearing your heart. And you don't even have to give it to them, but I would even sit down with the intention that I am never going to give this to this person, and just allow whatever comes out of me to come out of me, so that it's really raw and authentic. And then I can look back and see if I'm surprised by anything, or if it all just like, it's like, yep. That might give us some insight into how conscious we are of what is actually going on inside of us, and what wants to be expressed, and how we're truly feeling. I often find myself surprised when I am doing psycho-spiritual work on my own, and I start to open up about something that has made me angry or hurt me. Yeah, I'm often surprised by the depth that comes out. I personally like to work with deity when I do this. I have methods, but again, this writing card has come up for a reason. And I'm sure there's some way that you can express yourself that is healthy for you. Try automatic writing. Again, word association. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could help you dig deeper into what is going on. Are there any more cards? I actually feel like there is another card in this deck. So show me, is it this one? It is. Mouse. You're overlooking some important details, so pay closer attention to what's going on. Yeah, okay. I'm not even going to say any more about that. Are there any more cards? No. I have one more deck today, and I might grab the Kwan Yin Oracle just to see if she's got any last advice or whatever. But in this last deck, are there any more information? Yeah, it's this one. We've got childhood innocence. Okay, again, I'm getting two messages with this. We're being called back to our purest form, but this is all about trauma response. Whatever this means for you in your life, there is a probably childhood trauma that it is tied to, and it might seem completely unrelated. I feel like I said, there might be either some people pleasing going on, or there might be just it might feel just safer and easier to sacrifice what we want or how we feel to keep everything copacetic, which is still kind of people pleasing, but I don't think it's like actively going. I mean, there could be you actively going out of your way just to make sure that everybody is okay and everybody else is good, and it doesn't matter, just bend over backwards any way possible. Whereas this might just be, I'm just not going to say how I truly feel or what I truly think or be who I truly am around X, Y, and Z, because it's just easier that way. And anything in between these. And again, for you, you might see something totally different here because you will have context that I do not, based on your own personal life and experiences. Are there any more cards in this deck? I feel like that's a no. Okay, wow. All right. Kwan Yin, do you have any final guidance? Or we had to provide a little modesty for the card. So it's Empress of the Pearl. So I want to read you the first little blip in here, what it says. Empress of the Pearl. You have an inner gift, a great value, born of struggle, adversity, and challenge. In wisdom, you know that suffering can lead to growth, provided we are willing to search for a way to heal through it. Seeing challenges as ways to expand your spiritual light empowers you to focus on the growing light rather than getting caught up in suffering. This is so interesting to me. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I was going to do a pick a card reading, and it was going to be finding the lesson or the blessing in suffering, because we all suffer. But I have found that the pick a card reading doesn't necessarily work for me. I think straight reading, one reading, and the message is for who it's for. Like, if it's for you, it is, and if it's not, it's not. But I find it very interesting that we've come back to that point. So clearly that is kind of what this reading is as well. We're being asked to come to terms, to do whatever work we need to do in order to come to terms with our trauma, our shadows, all that good stuff. Do the work and change our perspective and understand that there wasn't some evil design, right? Like, no one was out to break us or to just obliterate us. And even if they were probably operating from a space of their own trauma, right? Or maybe mental illness, or, I mean, there could be all kinds of things, karmic ties between the two. We're just being asked to do the intensive work on the ground level, and then to step back and to take a deep breath and to find those blessings and to find our armor, as it were, to find the nuggets of truth and gold and wisdom that we collected through the journey, and bring it all together to cultivate a healthier, safer, higher sense of being and knowing who we are and understanding our place in the world. And I think on a very surface level, I say surface, but on a more mundane level, this is getting real about what is going on, writing it down, saying it out loud, whatever, really getting a focused, authentic view on who we are and how we interact with people in the world and why we interact with people the way that we do. And digging in, doing that work, getting back to a pure sense of self and becoming empowered and moving through the world from a more enlightened space, if only and more enlightened about ourselves and our place in the world, but still definitely headed in the right direction. Okay, I hope that made sense for someone somewhere. And yeah, basically that's the gist of it. That's what I've got for you. So I'm sending you so many blessings and so many hugs. And I know that you can do this. If you need help, you can get help. You can get professional help. You can get help from friends, support from family, people you can trust. And there's always spiritual, the unseen help. There's so many spiritual beings at your disposal. You just have to call them in for help, Kwan Yin being one. And until next time, much love and gratitude.